Hi, I'm Grace. I'm a homemaker, wife, and mother who loves the Lord more than anything. Our home is a small 50s fixer-upper on a little half acre. We don't have all that much, but we are rich in other ways. If this year you want to learn how to run a home, gain gardening tips, learn from scratch cooking, learning how to preserve your harvest, and generally be encouraged in the work of the home, I would love for us to be friends.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be canning some strawberry jam. I am still sick, guys. This cold will not get out of here. So if I sound stuffy, that's why. If you hear lots of noise in the background, that is my daughter. She's playing with crayons right now. And my husband is out mowing. So there's a lot of activity going on. But this is the time that I found to can. So that's just what we're going to have to do. If you are a beginner canner, this is not necessarily going to show you like the basics of canning, but this is such a good beginner recipe to start canning on. And it's basically foolproof. I shouldn't say you can't screw it up because I have screwed up jellies and jams in the past before, but it's very easy, so let's get started. But I am just going to be using my water bath canner for this. If you don't have a water bath canner, if you have a tall enough stock pot, you can always use that. You don't necessarily need a water bath canner, but I will say that if you're going to use a regular stock pot that is tall enough to hold jelly jars, definitely have either one of these that can sit on the bottom, so jars are not going to be right on contact with the canner because that can cause them to crack and break and all that fun stuff. So try to avoid that. If you don't have one of these, you can use a tea towel. I have used that in a pinch before and it works fine. It's just a little not as sturdy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this filled up with water and get this going because this takes a very long time to heat up. Okay, this is perfect. You in this too? Yeah. She's been pining after strawberries all day, so we'll see if we have some extra that we can give her. I'm not sure how much this is gonna make because locally my strawberries were $7.50 a quart and they wanted $45 for a flat. And I was like, those prices, can't afford them. But they are locally grown, better than probably store-bought, so that's probably why they were that expensive. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the tops off of these strawberries, just like the tops. Some people hull them. I'm not gonna do that because it's extra work and it's perfectly fine to eat it. So I'm just gonna cut the tops off, but I am saving the tops because I would like to make strawberry top syrup. I've never done that and I might film it, and if it does well, then I'll probably add it in. Or if it doesn't do well, I'll also add that in because my learning experience can be your learning experience. So. Strawberry?
Strawberry.
There you go. Oh, good man. Here's my love. Let's see. You taste some. Oh my. Those are really good strawberries. Yeah, yum, right? All the tops chopped off of these now, so I'm gonna either chop them in my like chopper thing, or I'm gonna chop them by hand, or I could try to mash them. I think I'm gonna chop them and then mash them down. I'm excited. That's interesting. It's not necessarily totally smushed. That's fun. Wow, this is fun. This is getting too smushed for my liking, and these are actually pretty ripe. So I am just gonna mash them with a potato masher.
So I am just going in with a potato masher. This is just what I use because I find it's quicker than using a food processor, and I prefer my jam to have larger chunks of strawberries. However, but if that is not your jam, pun intended, then you could definitely use a food processor to make these strawberries smaller. So once that is all mashed together, you're going to pour it into your pot that is on the stove. I would recommend a larger pot because it is potentially going to overflow when we get to boiling it. I mash it down a little more, add 3/4 cup of water to it. I'm then only going to add in 1/4 cup of sugar to this, and then we're going to go ahead and add in the pectin. I love buying bulk from the local Mennonite markets. It's just easier than having to go out and get a pack each time I need to can something. Here's a little hack that I have, and so I take 2 tablespoons of butter and I throw it into my mixture because this helps it from overboiling out of the pot. Not only does it help with the overboiling, but it also helps with getting foam. For some reason, strawberry jam likes to foam up a lot. As you can see, it's kind of foaming up here. Once the jam reaches a rolling boil, you're gonna add in the rest of your sugar. Now this is where you're gonna really watch your pot because it's really easy to let this overflow out of the pot, and that is just a sticky mess nobody wants to clean up. You're gonna let that boil for about a minute and then you're gonna turn off the heat and let it simmer a little bit without the heat. At this point, I go ahead and just skim off any foam that may be resting on top of the mixture. It doesn't really matter when you go to can this if you leave the foam or not. It's just for more so appearances and getting rid of some air bubbles. So that's why I like to skim it. So I have all of my jars ready to go. So I'm going to take my mixture and it's going to be pretty hot. So I'm taking my 4 jars funnel, which I absolutely love because you can see where the headspace would be for canning. It's amazing. And I have a discount code if you're interested. It's Joy10. They are a Christian company, and so I love supporting other Christian companies, but most importantly, they're also homesteading/canning company, and they have lots of great products, so definitely check them out. So what you're gonna do then is just fill these up to 1/2 inch headspace or 1/4 inch headspace. I honestly did like 1/4 for a couple of these and then 1/2 inch for other of them. I just wasn't so sure how it was gonna pan out come when I had to can them. You'll see here that I'm using my 4-jar lids. I had major issues with ball canning lids last year because a lot of them did not seal properly. They had defects on them. It's just because the company got bought out years ago and the quality ever since has been really not so great. We're gonna put our bands on finger tight. You don't want them any tighter than finger tight. Once our water bath canner is at a rolling boil or almost a boil, I like putting my jars in and just letting them rest until it does get up to a full boil. But once it's up to a full boil like this, you're gonna set your timer for 10 minutes and you're gonna can them for 10 minutes. Personally for me, once the 10 minutes is up, I like taking my jars out of the hot water bath canner and just letting them sit for a while before actually removing them and placing them on a towel. Strawberry jam is one of my favorite things to can, so I appreciate you watching today. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I would be happy to help you troubleshoot or answer.